Welcome to the Deep Dive. We dig into interesting sources to, well, help make sense of things. And today, we're looking at what you might call the architecture of wisdom.
Yeah, it's about building a life with intention. We're pulling together ideas from the Stoics, Carl Jung, some modern thinkers too.
And it all kicks off with this really powerful idea. The answers you get, they depend entirely on the questions you ask.
Absolutely. And what's striking is that the sources jump right into the tough questions, the ones we often, sidestep, like confronting ourselves.
You mean like that Jung quote?
Exactly, Carl Jung's observation. To confront a person with their shadow is to show them their own light.
It's a paradox, isn't it?
It really is. It messes with your head a bit because shadow just sounds negative, like flaws and mistakes.
Right, that's the common take.
But if you unpack it,
Mm-hmm.
well, a shadow only shows up if there's light around to cast it. So the darkness, it's actually proof there's potential for light. The struggle itself means something brighter is possible. That's such a powerful reframe. And it connects Jung straight back to older wisdom, like Tolstoy.
Tolstoy, how so?
Well, Tolstoy wrote, "To know yourself is to discover the good that lies within. It's not about becoming good later. It's about finding what's already there, like digging for treasure."
So it's like an archaeological dig inside yourself. You're not building something new, you're uncovering the original foundations.
Precisely. And this is where Seneca comes in strong, talking about that inherent divine spirit within us, the power to be good.
Okay, divine spirit might sound a bit much for some listeners. How should we think about that today?
Yeah, good point. You don't have to take it literally like a religious thing. Think of it as our core rational self, our ability to choose principles, or maybe in Jung's terms, that deeper self that, casts the shadow in the first place.
Got it. So it's that fundamental ability we have to choose principle over just reacting.
Yes. And Seneca's really crucial point is this. If you don't feel that power inside you, it doesn't mean it's gone. It just means you haven't learned to see it yet. Or maybe, years of doubt or bad habits have kind of buried it. So the work, the self-knowledge part, is like scrubbing off the grime to find the marble underneath.
So step one, the foundation of this wisdom architecture, is knowing yourself. Really accepting that the capacity for good, for resilience, it's already in there. But that's where it gets tricky, right? Moving from knowing it inside to actually doing something about it outside. Because knowing isn't the same as living it. We have to close that gap between who we want to be and who we are.
Yeah. The sources shift quickly from looking inward to acting outward. The instruction is pretty blunt. Pay attention to who you claim to be and then try to be that person.
That's what to say.
Yeah. But hard to do. It's about alignment. If you say you value honesty, well, you need to act honestly when it's tough. If you claim you want to be productive, you actually have to manage your time with intention.
Okay, but let me push back a bit here for everyone listening. Intentional action sounds great, but then there's just life, the day-to-day grind. How do you make that choice the sources talk about? Will this be alive time or dead time? How do you even tell the difference when you're just trying to get through the day?
That's a really practical question. It's basically a Stoic idea using your inner judgment, your prohairesis, but framed for now, dead time. That's when you're passive, distracted, just waiting for things to change for you.
Okay, and alive time.
A lifetime is intentional, focused action linked to clarity about what you're doing and why.
Can you give us a way to actually do that, like a mechanism?
Well, there's a sort of athletic metaphor used. Look at the target, look at the ball, take the shot.
Minimize the gap.
Exactly. Less space between thinking and doing. So say you're waiting for the perfect job, just waiting. That's likely dead time. But using that waiting time to learn new skills, talk to people, figure out what you really want, that's a lifetime, even without a paycheck. It's about your attitude towards the effort.
Which means you have to get over that fear of not being perfect right away. That seems like the biggest hurdle for living intentionally. Like John Wooden warned, if you're afraid to fail,
You will never do the things you're capable of doing. Yep.
Yeah.
And that fear often comes from thinking only the pros can create something worthwhile. But Emerson nails it. Every artist was first an amateur.
I like that.
Someone committed to a lifetime gets that. The practice is the whole point. Every minute you spend trying, even if it feels clumsy, that's time well used. It's part of becoming that person you say you want to be.
And let's ditch the fantasy that getting better means things get easier.
All right.
There's that funny kind of dark line from Robert Frost.
Oh, yeah, about working 8 hours a day so you can become the boss.
We're 12 hours a day.
Exactly. Building this architecture of wisdom, it actually demands more responsibility, not less. Growing into yourself doesn't mean you get to coast. It means deeper, more meaningful effort, applied consistently. A lifetime isn't a break. It's full-on engagement.
Okay, so if step 1 is self-knowledge, the excavation, and step 2 is intentional action, the alignment, what's next? The sources seem to say we need to use this for others, for the community.
That's right. The focus shifts outward towards service. Seneca talks about some people having rusty souls that need scrubbing down, and how philosophy, these principles, can lift them out of bad opinions.
Rusty souls. That sounds a little judgmental.
It can sound that way, yeah.
Yeah.
But the sources are really careful here. Stoicism isn't about converting people. There's no hellfire waiting if your neighbor ignores your advice.
Okay.
But if you've genuinely done the work, found that inner goodness, committed to a lifetime, you've found a better way to navigate things. And that kind of creates a responsibility or maybe an opportunity to be of service.
So it's like an overflow of what you've learned, not pushing it on people. How does that service actually look? Because, let's be honest, nobody wants a lecture from someone who thinks they've got it all figured out.
Oh, absolutely. The how is critical. It's all about example and presence, not sermons. You don't tell people what to do. You just live by the principles you've uncovered. Like the quote says, your strength is shared when you are present for others.
Being a steady presence in the room.
Yeah,
Showing resilience instead of pointing out flaws.
exactly. You become the evidence, in a way. Which reminds me of that Simon Sinek line in the sources.
Let us all be the leaders we wish we had. That captures it perfectly. Service through simply being that example.
Precisely. But look, helping others is messy. It's complex. You're trying to share your light without blinding anyone, right? And that's why the sources give us these really important warnings. They call it the Trinity of Authentic Service.
Okay, let's unpack that trinity, because this sounds like where things can go wrong easily. Number 1, authenticity without boundaries is careless.
Right. Think of someone who just dumps all their raw feelings or unfiltered thoughts on others, saying, I'm just being real. That's not helpful. It's just noisy, maybe even harmful if there's no respect for the other person.
Okay, number 2, sympathy without authenticity is not helpful.
Yeah, that's the empty phrase, isn't it? Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, said with zero actual feeling behind it. It's just performing empathy, and people can usually tell. It doesn't connect.
Right, it feels hollow. And number 3, authenticity without sympathy is selfish.
That's the person who's maybe brutally honest about their own path and principles, but they have no compassion, no understanding for how hard it might be for someone else who's struggling. They offer their truth, but no grace.
Wow. So putting it all together, that sweet spot is genuine presence. Respecting where someone else is, but still offering what you've learned from your own journey.
That's the balance point. You're there with your principles, ready to share fast, but not there to fix them or, grade their progress.
Okay, let's switch gears slightly to freedom. We usually think freedom means no rules, no constraints. But Epictetus turns that on its head. Only the educated are free. What does he mean by educated? Not just school, right?
Definitely not just formal education. It's about being liberated through understanding yourself and the principles of how life works. Knowing what's truly up to you, your judgments, your choices, and what isn't. That knowledge frees you from being jerked around by external events or anxieties. Ignorance is the real prison.
That ancient idea feels incredibly relevant now. Freedom isn't just doing whatever pops into your head.
No, it's understanding the rules of the game, so to speak.
And Sebastian Junger adds this really crucial layer, a distinction that changes how we think about freedom in society, he says.
Yeah.
What was it? It's freedom from oppression that you have a right to. It's not freedom from obligation.
That hits hard, doesn't it? Real freedom, meaningful freedom, actually involves choosing constraints. Obligations we take on willingly to family, to community, to a cause, they don't limit our freedom. They give it shape and purpose, trying to escape all obligation. That just leads to feeling adrift, meaningless.
Which connects straight to Martin Luther King Jr.'s point about social responsibility. We must live together as brothers or perish together as fools. Our individual freedom is tangled up with our collective responsibility. We have to accept those chosen obligations if we want to thrive together.
And if we choose to live together, we have to choose to be resilient together when things get tough.
Which loops us right back around to that inner work needed for resilience, especially when those obligations feel heavy. Tolstoy has some advice here that sounds, well, honestly, incredibly difficult when you're in the middle of a crisis.
Yeah, it's challenging, he says. If you are going through a hard time, work harder to understand God. Or, we could say, understand those core principles or that inner divine force. As soon as you understand him, all difficult things will become easy, and you will feel love and joy.
Okay, that's a huge claim. How does just understanding something make hard things easy? The problem outside doesn't just vanish.
No, the external situation might still be objectively hard, but your internal relationship to it changes completely. When you really connect with your core principles, that excavated goodness we talked about, you realize the difficulty can't actually touch your ability to choose how you respond with virtue, with deliberate action.
Ah, so the struggle becomes a test you feel equipped for, rather than just random suffering you have to endure.
Exactly. That shift is resilience. The sources define it as being able to withstand or recover quickly from difficult conditions. Where does that ability come from? From drawing on those inner resources you started with, the self-knowledge that your core is solid.
That's the architecture proving its strength.
Yeah.
When things get rough, you don't frantically look outside for a fix. You lean into the power you've already uncovered within.
That's it. You trust the foundation.
This has been, well, quite a build. Let's quickly walk through the architecture of wisdom we've laid out today. Foundation first. Self-knowledge. Facing the shadow to find the light, digging deep to uncover that goodness already inside.
Then the structure itself, intentional action, choosing alive time over dead time, constantly working to align who you are with who you claim to be, trying to be that person.
Finally, how it engages with the world. Service. Sharing your strength by example, being the leader you wished you had, but always carefully balancing your authenticity with sympathy and clear boundaries.
And all of this loops back so powerfully to that opening idea. The answers you get depend on the questions you ask. So the real challenge for you listening now is to look at the questions you're asking yourself.
Yeah. Are you asking, how do I avoid pain? Or are you asking, how can I build resilience to handle pain? Are you stuck asking, am I good enough? Or are you pushing yourself to ask, how do I tap into the goodness that's already here?
The quality of your questions really shapes your reality. It determines whether you find that freedom that comes from wisdom and chosen duty, or if you stay, stuck, maybe paralyzed by fear or feeling like a victim of circumstances.
Because the lesson here seems to be that real change, the kind that builds that strong inner architecture, takes continuous work. It's not about shortcuts. There's that sarcastic quote about superficial fixes.
Oh, right. A little putty, a little paint makes the builder what he ain't.
Exactly. Slapping on some paint doesn't fix a weak foundation.
So maybe the final thought to leave you with is this. Relying on putty and paint is just trying to hide a shaky internal structure. Real wisdom, making that rusty soul genuinely shine, needs constant upkeep. Sometimes it needs a major renovation inside. It demands a real commitment to the deep, principle-based work we've been talking about. Don't just build a pretty facade, build an inner fortress.